Today, we'll dive into the 2025 New Orleans truck attack, a terrifying act of terror that occurred on January 1, 2025, in the heart of New Orleans, Louisiana. This attack shocked the nation and left the city grappling with the aftermath of a devastating act of violence. Let's delve into the key events, uncover hidden aspects, and explore the gripping investigation that followed this heartbreaking incident. We'll examine the impact it had on the community, the nation, and the ongoing efforts to prevent such acts of terror in the future. On January 1st, 2025, at approximately 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, a man drove a pickup truck into a bustling crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. After crashing into the crowd, he exited the vehicle and opened fire on responding police officers. The violent exchange ended with the suspect being fatally shot. The tragic attack resulted in 15 deaths, including that of the assailant, and left at least 35 others injured, 2 of whom were officers who sustained gunshot wounds. This devastating incident unfolded amid the city's New Year's celebrations, just hours before the highly anticipated Sugar Bowl college football game was set to take place. The FBI later identified the driver as Shamsud-Din Jabbar, a U.S. citizen from Houston, Texas. A flag linked to the Islamic State was discovered in the back of the truck, prompting the FBI to categorize the attack as an act of terrorism. The investigation into the attack is ongoing, with authorities also examining a similar bombing that took place at the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas on the same day. There are indications that the 2 incidents may be connected, with the possibility of the same perpetrator being involved. Federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies had issued warnings to local police departments about the potential for vehicle ramming attacks ahead of the holiday season. In a 2017 memo, city officials had also raised concerns about the possibility of mass casualty incidents, including a vehicle attack in the French Quarter, and planned to enhance security measures in the area. U.S. Officials expressed worries about the threat of lone wolf terrorism and the efforts of the Islamic State's Khorasan branch to recruit new members by spreading online propaganda and inciting vulnerable groups. The city's New Year's celebrations included street parties on Bourbon Street and a parade for the 2025 Sugar Bowl, a major sporting event in New Orleans scheduled to take place on the night of January 1 at the Caesars Superdome, featuring a matchup between the Georgia Bulldogs and Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Law enforcement had ramped up security in preparation for these events, including the use of drones in the French Quarter. After escaping traffic, the driver maneuvered his truck around a police SUV and barricades set up to protect Bourbon Street, plowing into pedestrians along a 3-block stretch between Canal Street and Conti Street. Witnesses blamed the city, reporting that steel barriers designed to prevent vehicles from entering were not in place before the attack. Despite this, New Orleans Police Chief Ann Kirkpatrick stated that officers were aware the barriers sometimes malfunctioned and had instead used alternative barricades. Initially, these special barriers were positioned on the streets, but were being repaired for the upcoming Sugar Bowl event. Chief Kirkpatrick declared that the suspect attempted to run over as many people as possible. According to New Orleans Coroner Dwight McKenna, at least 15 people, including the suspect, lost their lives in the attack. Additionally, at least 35 others were injured, some of them in critical condition. Immediately following the incident, emergency responders rushed 30 of the wounded to 5 nearby hospitals, while others sought medical attention on their own. Police Chief Kirkpatrick stated that the majority of the victims were local residents. Authorities have confirmed that the identities of the victims will be released once all deceased individuals are identified. However, some victims have already been identified by their families through social media. As of January 2, 7 fatalities have been confirmed, including 5 men and 2 women. Among the youngest victims were an 18-year-old Palestinian-American man and an 18-year-old woman from Mississippi. A reunification center was established at the University Medical Center New Orleans, where police reported that 26 individuals had been injured. Several local hotels were evacuated, and staff members arriving for their shifts that morning were denied access to the area. The attack also disrupted high-profile sporting events, including the 2025 Sugar Bowl, part of the 2024-25 college football playoff. Originally scheduled to take place at the Caesars Superdome between Notre Dame Fighting Irish and Georgia Bulldogs at 7:45 p.m. CST on January 1, the game was postponed to 3:00 p.m. CST the following day due to ongoing security checks. Meanwhile, local organizers announced plans to review security procedures ahead of Super Bowl LIX, set to take place in New Orleans the following month, with immediate response to the attack taking precedence. The FBI identified the suspect in the truck attack as Shamsuddin Bahar Jabbar, born on October 26, 1982, who was a 42-year-old U.S. citizen from Texas. At the time of the attack, he resided in a neighborhood in northern Harris County, Houston, and had previously lived in Beaumont. Jabbar served in the U.S. Army for 10 years, specializing in human resources and information technology, and was deployed to Afghanistan in 2009, where he was promoted to sergeant. He was honorably discharged. Jabbar attended Georgia State University from 2015 to 2017. His criminal record included a 2002 arrest for petty theft and a 2005 arrest for driving with an invalid license. Jabbar had been divorced twice, which contributed to his financial struggles. He had 2 daughters, aged 20 and 15, at the time of the attack. His brother mentioned that Jabbar had converted to Islam during his youth, and a friend noted that he had shown a deep passion for his faith when they reconnected on Facebook around 2017. The ex-husband of one of Jabbar's former wives reported that Jabbar had exhibited erratic behavior in the months leading up to the attack. The FBI is currently leading the investigation into the truck attack and has set up a tip line for the public. Investigators discovered 2 pipe bombs hidden inside a refrigerator on Bourbon Street, several blocks away from the attack site. These devices were designed to detonate remotely, with the trigger mechanism found inside the truck. A homemade silencer was also recovered at the scene. In addition, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, the Department of Homeland Security, and federal and local prosecutors are assisting with the investigation. The FBI is exploring whether the suspect had any connections to or was inspired by foreign terrorist organizations. The suspect had discussed the Islamic State and his intent to kill in videos filmed on his way to New Orleans. Further investigations revealed that explosive devices were found in other areas of the French Quarter, suggesting they might have been planted by someone other than the driver. The FBI announced at a press briefing that they do not believe Jabbar acted alone and may have had assistance in carrying out the attack. Authorities are considering a range of suspects and have emphasized that nothing is being ruled out at this stage. On the same day as the truck attack, a fire broke out at an Airbnb apartment in the St. Roch neighborhood, believed to be rented by the suspect. Later, around 8:39 a.m., a Tesla Cybertruck exploded and caught fire outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, resulting in 1 death and 7 injuries. The FBI is investigating this incident as a possible terrorist attack linked to the truck attack, while Tesla is conducting its own independent investigation. The suspect behind the Cybertruck incident had rented the vehicle through the Turo app, similar to the New Orleans attack, and is believed to have served at the same military base as the truck attack suspect. A man from Jabba's home in North Houston surrendered to law enforcement after they raided his residence. President Joe Biden reached out to Mayor LaToya Cantrell, offering his support and expressing his heartfelt sympathy for the victims and their families, stating that his heart goes out to those who were simply trying to celebrate the holiday. Troy Carter, the U.S. representative for most of New Orleans, called the attack an unspeakable act of violence and praised the New Orleans Police Department for their response. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana described the attack as devastating and expressed his gratitude for the efforts of first responders. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry extended his condolences to the victims and urged the public to stay clear of the area. House Speaker Mike Johnson, President-elect Donald Trump, and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise also condemned the attack. The FBI later announced they were investigating the incident as an act of terrorism. The New Orleans Police Department, along with Mayor Cantrell, labeled the incident as a terrorist attack. At the time of the assault, a system of barricades protecting Bourbon Street from vehicles was being upgraded, and it remains unclear whether these barriers were in place at the time. Orleans Parish District Attorney Jason Williams noted that no law enforcement agency could have been prepared for a vehicle plowing into a crowd. Jeff Hundley, the executive director of the Sugar Bowl Organizing Committee, expressed that the attack had left the committee devastated. The University of Georgia Athletic Association stated they were deeply saddened by the senseless violence in New Orleans, while Notre Dame University President Robert A. Dowd expressed prayers for the families and loved ones of those affected. UGA President Jer Moorhead confirmed that a student from UGA had been injured in the attack, expressing his sorrow and gratitude toward the first responders. Both the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans Pelicans issued joint statements honoring the victims and the resilience of the city. The Pelicans held a moment of silence before their game against the Miami Heat. In Pasadena, California, a moment of silence was observed during the Rose Parade in honor of the victims. The National Football League expressed confidence that attendees would have a safe and enjoyable experience at the Super Bowl. The truck driver stated that the FBI had instructed him not to speak publicly about the incident. His wife expressed deep sorrow and extended her condolences. Jabba's ex-wives mentioned that their daughters were devastated by the events. Additionally, Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed that 2 Israeli citizens were injured in the attack. And Mexico's Ministry of Foreign Affairs also reported that 2 Mexican citizens were injured in the incident. In a 2017 memorandum reviewed by CBS News, the city of New Orleans acknowledged the potential risk of a mass casualty event in the bustling, tourist-friendly French Quarter. The memo specifically referenced vehicle-based attacks in cities such as Nice, France, London, UK, and New York City. To mitigate these risks, the city outlined plans to implement a comprehensive surveillance program, establish a centralized command center, increase police patrols, and upgrade infrastructure. As part of these efforts, New Orleans was in the process of modernizing and enhancing pedestrian barriers in the French Quarter with work slated to continue into February. This is an ongoing story, and the investigation is still unfolding. As the investigation into the 2025 New Orleans truck attack continues to unfold, authorities are working relentlessly to uncover the full scope of this horrific event and ensure that justice is served. The reverberations of this tragedy will undoubtedly be felt far beyond the streets of New Orleans, reshaping how cities think about security and public safety. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the 2025 New Orleans truck attack. Share your perspective in the comments below and join the conversation. Your perspective matters, and we look forward to hearing from you. Stay with us as we continue to monitor the ongoing investigation and bring you the latest updates and new developments in this tragic story.